Today we have the amazing Kylie King, who runs a number of businesses as well as having a number of children and does it all somehow with a smile. I'd like you to introduce yourself because you do way too much for me to intro.
Great. Well, thank you for having me first off. I'm really excited to be here, and it's good to be on the other side of the podcast thing, being a guest, having to think of all the questions. So I'm excited to answer anything that comes up. But my name is Kylie King, as you mentioned. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4, and my littlest at the moment is 9 weeks old. I have a background in senior retail management. I have a master's in business. And one day I woke up doing my job that I loved, and I had a new little baby, and I went, I can't keep doing these 80 hours. Like, why did I have a little baby to keep doing 80-hour weeks? So I wouldn't see her other than when it was food time, really. So I was just like her snack person, as well as she was always just asleep. So I decided to leave what I was doing and sort of embarked on a journey of trying to find me, my identity back, and then also finding what I wanted to do with the time that I had that could actually make real impact. And first off, I was told, why don't you just go into business coaching? Apparently, it's just easy to start a business coaching business, go in there, super easy. Instead of making money for the large companies that I used to work for, why not make it for yourself? And what I noticed was that you can find business tips anywhere, right? You can Google them, you can YouTube them, you can do whatever you want to find business tips. But if your mindset's not there, or you have imposter syndrome, or you're not feeling confident, you're not going to action the tips that you have. So you're just going to keep getting tips, feeling overwhelmed, procrastinating, and not really moving forward. So when I sort of put the business coaching aside and I really started focusing on hypnotherapy. So one of my businesses is Kylie King Hypnotherapy. And then I was encouraged by another lady that I met online to start holding networking groups. So 6 years ago, I started a networking group. We still meet monthly, which is called Penrith Blue Mountains Ladies in Business. But I was getting a lot of complaints of, why do you only worry about people locally? We want to feel this community, this support in a place that isn't. I don't live in the Penrith Blue Mountains. Like, where am I going to go and get that community? So I ended up starting the Australian Ladies in Business Initiative, which is known as Alibi. That's where I've met you through so that I can be on this podcast. And that community was a side hustle. I'm just going to start a Facebook online community. I'm going to invite all business women, whether they're mums, they got fur babies, whatever they've got, come into the community. We'll support you. We want to ask advice, share some things. It's really exploded. So it's now got 6,000 members. It's got a membership. It's got 2 memberships now. It holds its own business awards program in the pipeline that I haven't really released to everyone. We're now actually even looking at starting up our own college. So there's so much happening in that space. So they're the 2 main businesses, because Alibi went from more of a side hustle to consuming so much time of mine, along with all the other things. So yeah, I think that's a bit of an introduction.
I think it is. And I've heard you refer to Alibi as a side hustle before. And I think the first time I heard you refer to it, I just kind of went, what? How? No, no, this is a full-time business on its own, let alone everything else.
Yeah,
How?
it is a
How?
behemoth. Because the thing was, I make all my money from my hypnotherapy. So my mindset work, I work with businesses. I've also gone into different aspects. So it's where I can sort of let my woo-woo go. I do sound healing. I do a lot of hypnosis, guided meditation, and just really help people find themselves, whether it's women or men. I have a lot of male clients. But it's that when they feel confident and you step into your own power, then you can do anything, and then you can run the business. That was my main business. That's where I was getting the money to feed the family and do all of that. Whereas Alibi was just that community that started as the side hustle. And then, yeah, there are parts in the year, especially when the awards program's on, where it's like, I'm not marketing my other business. Like, I still have that consistent flow of clients, but I'm not marketing it because I'm in the Alibi space, making sure that the awards do what they need to do and that everyone is looked after and cared for.
With Alibi, do you have a team as well?
So Alibi, at the moment, all the profits it makes goes back into the business. I have one VA. That's it. She works 12 hours a week, but she also helps with my other business. It was only last year that I was able to bring on a person down the road who I could bounce ideas off for a short amount of time. But it is pretty much what you see is my poor tired VA. I don't know how she keeps working with me. Shout out to Marion, because I would have had enough of me by now. But in saying that, once you get all your steps in place as a business owner, like you've got your marketing, you know what your branding is, you know what you know, you're batch creating content, you're using the scheduling tools to do that, it does make my life so much easier. And if you set something up right the first time, you can tweak it later. So for the awards program, I've got to tweak it this year, make sure it's got 2025 and all of that. But I can repurpose a lot of the content we used last year, a lot of the graphics we used last year. There's nothing wrong with repurposing because people will forget. They're not going to remember. But also then I can say, okay, we're going to make this adjustment to the awards due to feedback we received. So if it's set up right the first time, I can consistently use it, which helps. So now this year with the awards, instead of worrying too much about people coming in and going through that motion, I know that's set up correctly. It's now, okay, what sponsors can we bring on and what marketing can I do to get more attention to the awards?
You've got a few points there, but one that I'm super passionate about myself is that repurposing. And I mean, in my world, that's repurposing marketing and content. And, give me a 20-minute video and I'll give you back, 5 reels and a blog post and 3 or 4 graphics, things like that. And like you said, people forget it. And a lot of the time, people don't even notice things the first time. It really doesn't hurt to reuse stuff.
100%. And that even comes back to like with the mindset and the hypnotherapy I do. During a script, we repeat things because repetition is the key to remembering something. So it is so important to not go, oh, well, I've spent this long doing a reel. Just recently on our Instagram page, I used a reel and it was quite successful, maybe had about 4,000 views. And I was like, oh, okay. So then about 3 weeks later, I reused the reel. I reused the exact same content, the exact same thing. It's gone up. I think it's at 20,000 at the moment and it's still going. Most comments we've had. And it was just using that same reel. But also, if you can, invest in good quality stuff. So a lot of my reels is like, for example, we had a videographer come through for the awards. I can now take that award piece and make so many little reels from it. And I've spent that money on that person and it looks really good quality. I didn't have time to do the social media during the awards. I didn't have time to do the videos. So now I've got this beautiful marketing video that can be cut up and I can now use all these great reels. And also it comes from someone else's perspective, which I love. Because when you're a business owner and you're working in your business, you're an expert at what you do, right? So you might be talking about, I could tell you all about hypnotherapy and all of this stuff, but you might look at my video or say, no, people need to know this instead. Let's start at a beginner level. Or people want to see this person getting this trophy. They want the winner's moment from that video. They don't want to know about you setting stuff up. So I think it's really important that if you have that, get it invested because people will have an outside view. Like I can help someone will say to me, Kylie, can you help me? Give me a content idea for a business. I can give them like 10 content ideas straight away because I'm from the outside and it's what I want to know about their business.
Yeah. That is a really, really good point. And we get stuck. I think also we think that the basics or what are the basics to us are boring.
Yes.
Why would anyone want to know about adding a music backing to a reel? I do it 50 times a day. And then you talk to people and they go, hey, hang on, I've never done that. How do you do that?
What's the trending sound? What do you mean I need commercial usage of something? Like what? No one knows that. And you're like, oh, I didn't think that. But then, one of the biggest thing with Alibi as well, with the community is a lot of the businesses we get through are like, is your Facebook profile set up properly? And they're like, yeah, it is. And then I get to an awards and I'm trying to tag people's businesses on Facebook to give them promotion. I can't tag them because they haven't set up URLs properly or they haven't done certain things. And that's, we ended up setting a membership out about it to go, look, here's a low-cost membership, go and learn. Because it was a frustration point that I realized while we were trying to tag everyone. And then say, because sometimes we skip over the basics of stuff when we're doing something in business because we're just so excited to do the good stuff. Like, I'll play with clients. I love doing clients all day. I love talking all day, learning people's stories. But if you say sit down and do your books, I'm like accountant, do my books. I'm not doing it. And social media is the biggest energy drain. It is so draining. And that's from someone who's been running online communities for like more than 6 years, not just groups, but like Facebook pages. They're beautiful. I love connecting with people, but are they not only a time suck, they are an energy drain. So if you don't want that and you need to get it off, that's when you need to go and outsource and go, hey, Anastasia, make me a whole bunch of reels because I just can't deal right now.
Yeah, and batch content else. And do it when you know it's a good time for you to be doing it, because you can tell straight away if somebody jumps on and starts chatting away about their business, their heart's not in it, they're bored, they're tired, they've been up since 4 a.m. like me today, and you can tell, you can feel it. If it's not a good day for them to be sitting in front of a camera and creating, there's no point doing it, because if anything, it actually harms your reputation more than it helps. So you kind of got to know when are good times for you, when are you feeling it, when are you loving your business job
Mm-hmm.
before you create stuff.
And you don't need to love your business all the time. So don't do it. But you're right. Like, come to me now and I'm so fired up to chat to you and have a really good discussion. And we booked this in. But I can tell you this morning when I was up at like 3 a.m. with my newborn for like whatever, if you were like, put a video in her face and start talking about my business, I'd be like, don't talk to me. I haven't had my coffee this morning. Like, leave me be. Or, you've had an argument with your child and then you're like, oh, but it's that time. I now need to jump on and record my daily video. And this is why repurposing content is so good too, because say you forgot and you're like, oh, I always post on a Wednesday. Scroll back on your feed and just go, is this how I'm feeling at the moment? And then put it up. And I've had clients actually say to me, Kylie, I know I've seen this before, but this was the kick in the pants that I needed to see it again, to know, okay, I've got to take action. Now is the time to take action. So those that love you and follow, if they see it come up, they just see it as a sign that they need a bit of a kick up the bum. But yeah, repurposing and batch creating would not be anywhere with my very busy life without that stuff.
100%. And look, I haven't got half as much on my plate as you do, but the same sort of thing. If I didn't batch content, if I didn't repurpose, reuse content, I probably wouldn't put anything out most of the time either. Like, there'd just be crickets on all of my own socials. I'd be getting stuff done for clients, of course, but my own would be completely crickets. And not only that, when you're talking about reusing content, only less than 10% of your viewers actually, or of your audience actually saw it the first time.
Exactly, especially with the way Mr. Zuckerberg plays with Facebook, as we all know. And people that don't know, he owns Facebook and Instagram, guys, like, get with the program. But he's dropped a lot of the business algorithm because he wants more money. He wants another yacht, or he's building some massive $1 million compound. So it is really important that if you're going to repurpose and batch create, but he's not showing as many people anyway because he wants you to pay for ads. That's really it. So repurposing content, don't be worried if people have seen it before, because they probably haven't, because he keeps bringing down what's happening.
We see more sponsored posts in our feed now than we do organic posts, and that's so that it's a business and it makes money.
100%. And even like, look at Apple. Apple even jumped on the bandwagon because now if you book an ad through your phone, they charge you an Apple service fee. It's
really
computer. Yes. So everyone there's trying to get their little paws out. And I think that's why social media is a great strategy and use lots of reels. But also remember that you can use platforms like YouTube as well. And also having your email list is important. And don't forget too, YouTube has shorts now, and YouTube's not social media. It's a search platform. So Alibi has a YouTube channel. We have our own YouTube channel and we put our podcasts and stuff on there. But our shorts is what's giving us the views and driving people into it. So if you're using a reel on Instagram and you're using it on Facebook, one, you should be using Facebook Reels because it's currently what's getting shown the most because it's a new feature and Zuckerberg wants everyone to use it and shut down TikTok. Also be putting it on YouTube Shorts because it's a search engine. So if anyone's looking for anything, they're probably going to have YouTube pop up. When you Google something, what's the things that pop up first? Generally YouTube and Pinterest because they're search engines.
Yes. Yep. YouTube Shorts, since they came out, and especially since they've allowed us to go over the 60 seconds, but YouTube Shorts for all of my clients and for my own stuff are going absolutely gangbusters. And people are looking at their meta stats which is your Instagram and your Facebook, go down and down and down. what they're not realizing is that same content could be going absolutely crazy over on YouTube. Exactly what you said. It's owned by Google. It uses their search algorithm. If you Google something, they want to push their own platform, which is YouTube.
And that was a question someone said to me at one of the conferences I went to. They said, you need to remember Google's business is to find the answers, right? It's to find the answer. That's their business. So if they don't do it, they're going to be a shit search engine. So they need to find the answers. So yeah, if you're giving it to them in YouTube as a reel, then yeah, go for it. Just take that one step more and put it onto YouTube.
And that way as well, the other reason that Google loves it is you're not taking the audience away from them.
Yeah,
Because they own it.
that's another thing with Facebook at the moment is if you put an outside link in to your content on your business page, say, hey, come to my website, or hey, come to my YouTube channel, Facebook goes, nah, that's external link. We don't want you going there. So they will also decrease how well that post performs because they want you to just live on Facebook and die on Facebook in a nice sort of way.
And LinkedIn is exactly the same. If you put a link in a post on LinkedIn, you're done.
Yes.
Nobody's going to see it unless they go looking for it.
Yes.
And they're really harsh on that at the moment.
And that's why it's so important to make sure things like your Facebook profile and all of the page stuff that's happening on there is using the links in the right place. Because if I want to come all the way to check out your profile, whether it's on Instagram and Facebook, I'm interested in what you're doing, right? Make sure that you're telling me as a client where the next part of the journey is happening. Because if you don't, you're losing potential business because I'm not going to look as a busy mom of four and doing all the things I do. If I've already come and clicked on your profile to come and stalk you and I can't see, I don't know, where to join your email list or where to sign up to your program, I've got no time to send you messages because I'm probably doing it at 1 a.m. in the morning and I'm not sending a small business a message at 1 a.m. in the morning. So make it as easy for people to do that by making sure your links are in the right place that the platform allows. So then your customers are still getting what they need, but not getting penalized by it because you've put them in a post.
100%. One other thing I've noticed a lot recently that it's just ticking me off, which is why I'm bringing it up, is if you have a link on your Insta profile, LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, whatever it might be, and that link is basically says, visit my website, and then that goes to a link tree, which has Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, da-da-da, and then your website. I'm not scrolling down to find your website again. I already clicked and said, I want to view your website. I don't want to view another menu of your social media links. If I've clicked saying, I want to view your website, I want to view your website.
And I think as well with that too, but why are you then sending traffic to Linktree, which is a third-party app? So a lot of times when someone clicks a Linktree, you'll get a notification to say this is an external link. It might be a virus or whatever it is, right? Even though it's Linktree. You could easily go to your website, set up a page. If you can't do it, I'm sure someone can, and then put your links there. So then I'm already at your website. So then if you've got all your social media links there, I'm like, hey, I'm already on Anastasia's website. I can click home. I can see everything. Drive the traffic to your stuff. Stop driving it to Linktree because that millionaire, billionaire, whoever owns it, don't give a crap. Well, this morning I checked someone new had followed me on my business page, right? Then they took my photos, put my photos on their profile, then tried to join Alibi and all this as me, but different name. Apparently they sell sofas, so I should let them in the Alibi group. I posted it in there. I reported it to Facebook and Facebook was like, it's not a breach of community standards, guidelines, whatever. So I was like, that's okay. I don't care. It's just my photo, like whatever. They're out there and it's a different name. But I was just like, far out Facebook. And then I had a call yesterday with a client. She lost her Facebook profile again because hackers and Facebook doesn't care. So she's like, what do I do? And then I'm trying to go through these things with her. But yeah, because me and Mr. Z have an issue. Like, I just don't like him. I've done his meta courses, like I'm meta verified, but I'm like, you're such a dick. Like, just you get people to establish their lives on a platform and then you don't offer them basic customer standards and then you bring in a subscription model to do that.
Yes.
You can get your page back, but you need to sign up to whatever it is.
I mean, the only reason that I've got my Instagram verified, I've got the little blue tick on my Instagram, is so that if I ever need it, I actually can contact a human.
Yes. But like, when did that become like a, I don't understand. Can you picture if a small business did that? Sorry. Contact me Get a tick. I'm gonna give you a tick. It's on. I'll give you a little thing, and you can put a tick on it. But other than that, don't ask me.
You've got to pay a monthly subscription to ask me a question.
Just so I will answer the phone to take you in. Like, it's a small business. Everyone would be pissed off and going off on social about it. But Facebook does it, and everyone's like, I'll just adapt and do it. Whatever. It's fine.
Yep.
And then look, it started with Elon on Twitter, then moved over because Zuckerberg took the same idea.
Yes. Yep. Love social media is one of those love and hate things, isn't it? I love what it does for community, which we'll get into in a second because that's one big thing I wanted to chat to you about.
Yeah.
But it's become a money-making machine for them, and it's lost in the past few years, particularly since COVID. I think it's lost a lot of what it started out as, which is community building and connection. You can still find it, you can still make it happen. It's just a bit harder.
And it is also how the users are using it too. Like how we use it is very different now to when we first did it.
Little interlude here to let you know what happened next. Kylie's amazingly gorgeous and patient bub started fussing a little bit, and she tried to settle him down. He was doing really, really well. So when you hear us talking about, somebody who's done really well, that's who we're talking about, is her tiny, amazing, gorgeous little bub who joined us on the call. So back to the recording.
Come on, buddy. Come on. Enjoy the quiet and the peace. He's done. He does really good though. He's done sound sessions with me. I have him laid out on the bed here, and like the ladies will all be laid there, and like just at the right time he'll make a noise, and the ladies like it's just so much more soothing with him.
I reckon that's how goat yoga came about.
How what came about? Oh, goat
yoga. I reckon that's how that came about. Was someone just had a space and the goats escaped from wherever they were and came over and just butted in, and everyone went, you know what? This is actually really nice.
Yeah, I've seen puppy yoga. I've seen people do yoga with newborns. I'm like, I can't even hold the position. Like, it's not going to happen. Do you know what?
Yeah.
If you want to just start talking, I don't mind if he's in the videos. If you don't mind if he's in the videos.
I don't mind at all. I'm just always conscious that some people don't like bub being on camera.
Facing the other way, if anyone asks about it, I'll be like, this is business mum life. Like, this is it. So
yeah, I've done numerous meetings and even podcast episodes with a toddler on my lap who's also sitting there going, what's that? What's that?
And I think that's why my keys were hidden this morning, because they were like, what do you mean you're going to be on the video?
Why can't we be on the video?
Already, like, I slept in because I was up with him, and the latest of our podcast came out, and they all ran in. They're like, we've already watched your mom on YouTube. I'm like, oh. And they're like, but it was a really short episode. And they're like, but it was so short, mum. Like, work on that. I'm like, all right, bosses.
They're going to be little social media managers by the time they hit high school.
Yeah, well, one of them said, she goes, Mum, can I interview you for the podcast? And I said, you know what? People keep asking me that for the Alibi one, to do a podcast of myself. I was like, why not? So we'll see.
I like that idea because also the things kids ask.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think, but she'd hog the camera. She'd feel like, yeah, like... I mean,
so you have to do it like this, so that even though you're in the one spot, you've got one focused on her and one focused on you, but she doesn't know that one's turned on.
Yes. It's like when you look through your phone on the iPad and you find like 600 photos of selfies. And I was going through because the iPad was full and I couldn't update something. And I'm like, wow, it's going through each of my daughter's eras, like their leading lady era. Like, here I am. And I was like, this is awesome, but do I need 600 selfies with 30 bursts on each one? No, I don't.
No. We realized very quickly when my son had worked out how to use the camera on the devices, because he used it when mummy and daddy happened to be getting changed or about to get in the shower or something. And all of a sudden we're looking through and we're going, what? Why is there a photo of me naked in a very, very unflattering shot? Oh, that's from toddler height. Okay, I get it now. Samuel, no more cameras.
And I was just taking a picture of your mum.
No more cameras unless we're fully dressed.
Yes.
Yes, kids are fun.
But it is the candid shots that are nice. Like, I was looking through my phone yesterday, actually looking for some meme I'd saved. And yeah, I found all these photos of me sleeping and like, next to a baby or next to a kid. And I was like, these are really nice. They're friggin' horrible. They look like, cut out double chin, kid. But I was like, they're so lovely.
Yeah. on one hand, there's the creepy factor of somebody was watching you while you slept.
Yes.
Then there's the, no, that's actually really sweet. So you're not sure whether to go creepy or sweet there.
I know.
I think sweet, only because it was next to Barb. And
Yes.
but if they're sneaking into your room in the middle of the night and taking photos of you, well, yeah, that's leaning on creepy.
But kids are already creepy. Have you ever had it when it's like 3 a.m. and you feel someone's watching you while you're asleep and you wake up and their head's just there? Like, that's creepy.
Yeah, I even made a Bluey episode about that.
Yes.
Where Bluey's standing there and she's got the cup of water and Chili wakes up and she's like, ah, you're a drink. It's like, how long have you been there, kid? We'll jump back into some businessy stuff because then I can let you go and spend some time with gorgeousness. One thing I wanted to touch on, and you covered it a little bit before, was you started out with an in-person community in your local area, and that's what you initially wanted to build there, was a community of local businesswomen, because that was what was missing. Business life is lonely. You translated that to online, and a lot of online communities just don't work and just don't hit. And somehow you've made it work through predominantly being online, but then you also do still mix some of that in-person stuff in with the awards and with different things.
I think the biggest thing was COVID happening, right? So when COVID happened, we all went online. And so Alibi hadn't really, it had started slowly growing, but Penrith had to then take its meetings from in-face to then online. And a lot of networking companies at the time just were like, you're on your own, see you later, we can't hold in-person events, goodbye. And I'm like, people still need support. Like, we had some people could get grants, some people couldn't. Some people could have clients, some people couldn't. It was such a messy time for like everything. And I can't believe it's like 5 years ago now when all this stuff started. And I was like, there's got to be something that I can do that we can hold it. So I kept holding the meetings for the Penrith guys. I kept showing up once a month, the same time, but I said, look, we're transitioning it onto Zoom. So it's going to be on Zoom. I was still getting guests because we have, with that meeting, someone comes and shares their wisdom and what they do. So I was able to, which was good, because everyone was in lockdown and they were craving that human connection. I was able to get people like the gold medalist Kerry Pothurst to come in, business owners that had been on Shark Tank to come in and speak at these events, so that people were still seeing that no matter what your business is, whether you're very successful or new, there's people all in the same boat for COVID. They're all in a boat and we're just trying to work out what's going to happen from here. So I was already doing that with Penrith. And then when I started, I'm going, look, now this is a good time to take it Australia-wide. We'll see what happens from there. So I think the most thing is I always show up. If I have a meeting and no one's coming, or I'm holding a workshop and I get like one attendee online, I'm still there. And then I use that time to make sure not only does that person get the love, get the answers, it becomes a coaching session. I don't care if they've paid $20, whatever they've paid, right? I'm still showing up. But then using that, creating FOMO is a big one. So my first Penrith meeting, no one turned up. No one. It was me and my 2 little babies at the time. No one showed up. And my husband, who was sort of like out the back, or my partner who was out the back doing whatever, to make sure I didn't have an anxiety attack, right, for my first meeting. No one showed up. So I took photos. I talked about how good the food was. I talked about like the presents that were there, all in the group. And then the next meeting, 18 people showed up.
That's a huge jump.
A huge jump, because people want to know that you're going to show up and that you're testing the waters. Same with Alibi. We've run some online networking events, but it's all about showing up and showing up in a community. And by showing up in a community, I have to stress this. Stop coming into community groups and spamming your shit. No one wants to see your business. No one wants to see your promo. No one wants to see anything, because it's damaging your brand, right? And you're pissing off admins straight off the bat, because everyone has that ability to just, there's so much noise in the world, right? There's so much noise with social media. There's so much noise you're feeding. If you see a promotional post, do you engage with it?
Unless it's something I really want and have already had my eye on.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So if you don't engage on a post, why do you think spamming stuff? And I've seen it mentioned as the splatter gun method. I'm just going to splatter a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and we'll see what sticks, right? And by the wall, multiple community groups. But in doing that, if you wouldn't engage with it, other people won't engage with it. So then what happens if people aren't engaging in a community group, especially Facebook, it drops the group down. Plus, as a consumer or as a member of the group, I'm going to be like, well, that person put in a self-promo post. It's my turn. So when you're running a group of, could be small, you could be starting with 50, could be up to what I think we're at over 6,000 now. 6,000 self-promotion posts from everyone who wants to share their business that are getting scrolled past will make a group dead. It just will. It will do it because no one's engaging, and Facebook will go, well, this group's a bit yuck. I'm not going to then share that group to people out. Facebook shares your group to interested people as well. It shows up in the algorithm. Facebook's job is to get people to stay on their platform. How do we get them to stay on the platform? We get them to join groups and just keep chatting and chatting and chatting, right? So they're going to push your group out. If your group's not getting any engagement because people are just going in there and putting their business promos, it's actually hurting the group. And it's hurting the business because the admin's got the shits with the business for doing that. And it's just a cycle. So that's my main pet peeve about it after running communities for so long, because you could share your business so much more effectively by engaging in the group and teaching taking a moment to actually learn what the rules are in the group, sharing your knowledge, all of those type of things. And we mentioned a bit earlier about social media and how it's changed. It's a great tool, but we've changed the way we use it. It was originally intended to be an engagement platform. You go on, you catch up with your family you don't see overseas, or you catch up with people, or you share your business and you meet other people that maybe you're too scared to meet face to face. So because of that, but we stopped engaging. We went, nope, I'm only here to shove my noise out into the world. Here's all my content, but I'm not going to engage with anyone else's. And I know that there were coaches that did that. They said, don't get caught up in the scroll. Just put your content out. But if everyone is putting content out and no one is engaging, what is the point? You've lost the whole city feel. You've lost the whole engagement. If you've got negative stuff on your feed, take it off, unfollow, snooze the person, whatever you need to do. You are already so in control of what comes up on your feed. Taking time to engage by liking or sharing comments and that sort of stuff is bringing the engagement back to the platform. You start engaging, people will start engaging. So a lot of people say to me, Kylie, how do you fix up a dead group? So when I took over the Penrith group, it already had 90 people in there, but it was dead. 6 years ago, it was dead. No one would talk.
Yep.
I still showed up every day, posted stuff. If anyone commented, I would respond because you're starting the conversation, right? And the best thing about that, when you respond to someone's comment, it counts on the comment counter. So your post goes from 3 comments, you respond, goes to 6. Someone goes, oh, there's 6 comments here. I want to be involved. I got FOMO. I want to check it out. So responding to comments, it could just be, thank you for commenting. Do you know what I mean? Like, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. And then you'll always find that for me in Penrith, and I still speak about her, she's still in the group. She was my little hero in the group. So everything I posted, she would comment. She was like my little sidekick. And we were creating a very fluid conversation. Other people started getting involved and they started commenting.
Yeah.
We need to bring the engagement back to social media, because if everyone just keeps going, well, I'm going to put my content out there, I'm going to run, or I'm going to go into a community group that I haven't taken the time to read, I'm going to spam my business and then run and either not communicate back on that question or anything, you're not only harming the group and upsetting people who have taken, 6 years to build a group, but you're damaging your brand, because I can tell you now, anyone that does it, I don't refer them. And I refer so many people every week. My inbox is always full. Like, who can I get to do reels, or who can I get to buy loose leaf tea from, or who can I get to do this? And I'll go into the community, ask the question, or this is who I would refer. But I won't refer anyone that is not going to take that time to engage or be a part of the community if they're just going to use the splatter gun method, I think is the best way.
Yeah. Just post and goes. But also in that, I think what'll make it easier on you as a business owner, or on the audience as a business owner, to engage in the things that you actually want to, that are valuable to you and that mean something to you, is audit your social media feed. because there are probably in groups that you're part of or pages that you follow, there are probably conversations there that you want to be part of, but that you don't see because you've followed or liked or taught the algorithm that you actually like so much other crap that you don't actually like. It's showing you all of this stuff over here when the stuff you should be seeing is over here hidden because
And that's why it's so important to make sure your notifications are turned on for particular groups. So Facebook likes to turn that.
not all of
Yeah, in all of them. Only Alibi, turn them off for everything else.
not all of them.
Yeah.
I did that once. I went, I'm just going to turn on notifications for all of the groups because that's where I want to spend my time, not with pages. I want to spend my time with groups. Yeah, that was way too much.
Like highlight or all, to be like Anastasia, maybe just pick a couple that you want to see all of, but make sure one notifications are turned on. But also, if you want to get more stuff from the groups, engage in them. So you're engaging more in the Alibi group, they'll be like, oh, Facebook will be like, she likes this group, I'm going to show her the next posts that are coming up. Whereas if you're not engaging, and I know there's a lot of beautiful lurkers out there, and that's the thing, we've got a lot of people scrolling past and not engaging with content, and then they're saying, I didn't know the awards were on, or I missed out on that special giveaway you were doing, or I missed out on this special offer or membership. I'm not going to chase up 6,000 members in the group.
What? That's your job, isn't it? We contact all of us individually every day.
And as much as I do, but that's why we have the community, so I can get to know you, and there's lots of other ways to connect and put your business out there. Australian Ladies in Business already offers so many different ways to promote yourself in your email list, your video, everything. So don't damage it by just coming and dropping your link and running. And I've actually tested it where I've commented on these links before I've deleted them and seen if I would get a response. And I don't get a response. And I'm like, well, then that's only double bad because one, you're not even responding to your potential clients that you're splattergunning everything with, which is just bad in business anyway.
Yeah. I think we can't use, as a business owner, we can't use social media in the same way as you do if you're not a business owner. You have to be so much more intentional about what shows up in your feed, what you engage with in your feed, and again, what you've got notifications turned on or off for. Because if you're getting notifications for everything, you're not actually seeing any of them. So you've got to be super selective. And like you say, if someone's also bringing you down on social, unfollow them.
100%. And if it's like, I don't know, Aunt Mary, right? And you're like, oh, I can't unfollow it. There's a snooze feature. Snooze them for 30 days. See how your world thinks. Because what you're seeing, going back to the hypno stuff, but what you're seeing, it's making an imprint on your day. If you scroll up and you see Aunt Mary is complaining about something and she's and it's a bad negative thing, that's your whole day now. You're negative, you're pissed off, you hate everything. Whereas if it's something like, I don't know, rainbows and unicorns, because unicorns are the things at the moment, and you're seeing lots of unicorns and it makes you happy, your day is going to be awesome. So it's what you consume makes you. And it doesn't just mean what you're eating, it means what you're seeing. So if your Facebook feed is depressing, change it. I just hate it because I look at it and I go, I then follow their page or just go back and they don't have the fundamentals set up. Like when you look over their pages, for example, like Facebook, and this is why we have the Facebook checklist, the free resources, they've got things like the blue button on their Facebook page is pointing to a WhatsApp account they don't have, or it's going to an email, or they haven't claimed their URL. Well, if you don't claim a URL, another business can claim it and then sell it to you, right? So it's all these things, like just set it up right the first time, because you're missing out on potential customers. You don't know how many customers have clicked that WhatsApp message. And now it's gone.
Yeah. That is huge. But one thing you mentioned in your email was your original story where you've said it was a business that started from the ashes of a previous business. What's the story?
So I mentioned before that Penrith was a dead group when I took it over. So it was actually attached to an international organization. So what happened was I was scrolling online one night and I just started my business. And as I said, my second child was about 5 weeks old. So it was like late at night. And I saw the opportunity saying they're looking for people to start up networking groups in their area and they'll support you and blah, 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 right? So I signed up and I was really scared to do it because I didn't know what to expect. So I went to a meeting and checked it out. I was like, it was a very like dead meeting. Not many people there, but I was like, I like the feel of it. It feels like a pretty decent organization to be a part of. So what they wanted you to do is they wanted you to set up networking meetings in your area or in an area that they gave you. Now, there was no one in the Blue Mountains at the time. And then there was someone in Penrith. So I said to them, I live in the Blue Mountains. I'd prefer to do the Blue Mountains. Can I combine Penrith and the Blue Mountains together? And they said, yes, that's fine. So I took over the group. So the role was you would bring people to network, bring your community, support your community, bring them all together. And then you would hold the meeting and then they would buy a ticket and you'd get a percentage of the ticket sale and the other percentage of the ticket sale would go to the business, right? And so I ran the Penrith Blue Mountains and we were the most successful group. So we were having like 40, 50 ladies every meeting, very successful. Because of the success, they asked me to then become the Australian New Zealand coordinator. So then what my job was to do was to then find these beautiful ladies around the place to then start their own. So we had the Hawkesbury set up, the beautiful lady still running her Hawkesbury business there. We had the Hills. So there was a beautiful lady there, Hills, Blacktown. By the time that I finished with the company, we had a quarter of their business. So I believe it was like over 70 groups through Australia and New Zealand. And then I went over for a business awards just before COVID to meet them, to meet the owners because I hadn't met them. They had their own awards on. I won a trophy. I went over to meet them and sort of get to know them. So it was run by two sisters. And I came back after meeting them and I got in just before the COVID lockdown. So got back. And during that time, the two founders had started a war between each other. And instead of being upfront and honest with each other and having business integrity and going, hey, this isn't working, or I don't like that you're doing this, or this is what it is, one of the founders grabbed all of the coordinators, all of the head country coordinators, which I was at the time, and said, start unlinking the groups. We're going off on our own. And straight away, I was like, what? And at this time, I'd been working with them for a couple of years. And I just went and met them face to face. Like I traveled, paid to go to the UK. And I was just when I was pregnant with number 3. And I was like, what is going on? Like, this does not gel with me. This is not in integrity with me. I'm not a fan of this.
No. And then there's the potential legal side of it.
100%.
You know,
So the thing was, because most of the groups, not the older groups, which Penrith was and Hawkesbury was, and the Hills was, but a lot of the newer groups we had that it had to be attached to a business page, right? So she wanted us to go in and start unlatching those groups so then we could latch the group to her new business. So instead of actually changing a lot of her new business, she just changed the name, right? Because then she'd cut off all communications with the other sister and the other sister was in damage control because now everyone was coming to cancel memberships. Everyone was coming to do whatever. So I went to sleep one night thinking, don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm sure they'll sort it out. They're sisters. They love each other. They've got $1 million business. They've just been in Forbes. This will be fine. I wake up. First time I got a good sleep in, right? I wake up and my emails are off the chart. My phone's off the chart. They'd gone in and kicked her out of the main community group they had of like 60,000 people. And then also just announced to everyone that association was shutting down, which was not true. So all the Australian coordinators were like, well, what happens to our meetings? What happens to our money? And I didn't have any information. Nothing, because they hadn't told us that yet. So then it just became a big, people were trying to then keep their groups because you weren't getting paid a lot and you didn't want to lose the group you spent so much time building. Some of the groups we were able to save because they weren't linked. So I was able to save the Penrith Blue Mountains group. We were able to save the Hawkesbury group. There was a couple of other groups around that were able to be saved in Victoria. So what happened then, they gave us an ultimatum. You can join. You probably won't get your group back because it's still tied to association. And that founder wasn't letting those groups go because she's like, I now need to take you to court. We need to look at different things. My group wasn't attached. So I went, okay, I'm just going to step back and wait.
Yep.
I'm just going to step back and wait. And I just watched. It became an absolute shit show. She was then throwing all this dirty laundry on social media. She then approached me and said, do you want to come on board to then lead as Australian New Zealand person over here? And I said, I straight up, I said, what's the money like? Is it a change? She goes, no, it's exactly the same. And I said, well, no, I'm not going to rebuild a business that I'd already built for you from scratch with the same amount of money when I know that I had a quarter of your business. Like I had set up that you're a quarter. So I'm like, nah, it's too stressful. I'm having a new baby. I'm not doing this. So I stepped back and I took my group with me. And then any group that was unlocked that those ladies needed support, I said to them, look, we can either start a new one, a new business, or you can have it and go out on your own. I was able to keep Penrith. I rebranded. No matter
Great.
how you felt about the owner, no matter how you felt about the business, to build something that was all about supporting women and then disembowel it from the inside is just disgusting. And it was,
And to do it so nastily.
yes.
Like, you can keep all of that dirty laundry. You can hate each other, especially family. Like that.
Yeah,
that
that's the thing with family.
no, put it
It
out there.
family dirty laundry. And this other lady
God.
too, it also taught me when something like that goes down, are you the loud, like the squeaky oil that's talking a lot of shit? The other founder was quiet. She went into internal, but also she was left this giant mess to clean up because the business had debts. They weren't paying people. So the coordinators weren't getting paid. The people weren't getting paid. So I spoke to her like years later, beautiful lady. She knew I was setting up Australian Ladies in Business, and I was very open and honest with her. And I said, look, I'm going to start this new organization because all those communities and all these ladies were like, where do I go now? I had this beautiful community. I've lost my community, but now I've lost contact with all of you. And I said, look, I'm happy to start it. So I actually joined up a lot of the community leaders who still had their groups. And I said, do you want me? I said, we had a meeting. I said, look, this is the way I would do it if I was networking it. But I said, to be honest with you, I don't want to do all the separate networking groups because it's messy. It's overdone. A lot of other businesses have taken that idea and they're now doing it. And it's too much. Once you lose, if someone left the group, it was your job to then find someone who wanted to do the work in that area. This is very messy,
Yeah.
right? A lot of empty groups you'd then have to keep going, keep showing up for. So I ended up going, I'm just going to start Alibi and we'll see where it goes. It'll just be a community group so you can talk, you can chat, and you can have that. So our awards program was created because all the other awards program people were complaining about them, right? They weren't happy with them because they felt they were too biased. Too many people were like, your friends won. They weren't getting anything. They weren't getting feedback. They weren't getting any of this sort of stuff, right? So when I created the Alibi Awards, it was very community focused. We put all the questions in the group every year. We put questions in the group. I've judged international business awards and I've won some and all of that. So we put all of that into the awards. And there's one thing I want people to know. If you don't enter, you don't win. And there are people, I've been done so many different awards programs and better businesses could have won, whether they were in the wrong category or they didn't enter at all. I've seen other business awards programs where none of the nominees are suitable to win the category, but they had to give it to someone. Like someone had to win it.
You can't go up on stage that night and go, well, unfortunately, even though we received 6 entries, we didn't get anybody suitable, so we're holding it.
Yeah. Or the
Don't do
someone
that.
suitable was in a different category, or the someone suitable gave a really great entry into that category, but not this category. So I've seen awards like that. I've seen awards where businesses have won because they entered, but they're not paying staff super. They're not paying staff wages. I've seen business awards that have won where they haven't actually been trading for 9 months. I've seen other businesses enter that are new that haven't even had their first client and they've won an award. So what I'm saying, if I can get any message out to your amazing listeners, and even, even if you chuck it up as a reel for me and I'll just put it all over Alibi, you need to enter if you want a trophy. If you want to be recognized or you want to be like, this is my business, you need to throw your hat in and win. A lot of our winners last year, they are these women that have been in business for a long time or whatever it was, they never had the confidence to enter. They're like, oh, I'm not going to enter because I'm never going to win it. I would really like it. It's on my vision board, but I'm not going to win it, so I'm never going to enter. They walked away with trophies. You were there on the night, weren't you, Anastasia? I'm pretty sure. How many tears did you see from women who, and a lot of the speeches that said, I wasn't going to enter, but Kylie nudged me, or I wasn't going to enter until everyone else was doing it, or I wanted to support the community by entering. Because all the money from the awards, here's a quick thing. I don't make millions off the awards. The money goes in to pay for the awards. Like crystal trophies are not cheap. Like they're not cheap.
None of it's cheap. I've done events before. None of it's
None
cheap.
of it's cheap. Venues are not cheap. MCs, all
No.
of that. So all the money goes back into the awards program. But you want to hold a crystal trophy, then you need to go. Well, no matter what awards program you enter, like I want you to come and enter the Alibi Awards because I think they're the best. They've been made that way, you know. Even the judges we have, we've built a, you know, with the judging and the feedback we give, there's a framework we have. We have a framework that's been made by professionals in the industry that make millions of dollars who have PhDs. Like I've put a lot of thought into this awards, but you need to enter it to win. And there are businesses out there that maybe have the confidence, maybe it's imposter syndrome, because a lot of us, you know, they say something like 70%, I'll have to check the stat because mum brain, but I think it's like 70% of women don't start businesses because of imposter syndrome. If you've got a business, you've already beat that number. You're already doing great things. And, you know, if you don't know what you have to do for an award, use the community. Go and ask in the Australian Ladies in Business community. I need help with this answer, or what would you recommend here? If you entered the awards, you know, ask for your feedback. What's happening? Because I know that some of our beautiful ladies, beautiful winners have taken our feedback and they've gone on to win Stevie Awards. They've gone on to win Small Business Champion. They've gone on to do others because then they're getting feedback from it. They know what to improve on. Is it their messaging? And I know you'll like it, Anastasia, because part of the awards process is a video. Everyone hates seeing themselves on video. No one likes it. But the reason we have a video component is that's where it's going. And sometimes it's easier to be passionate about what you're saying and what you're doing by talking than by writing. Also, you can't chat GPT it, and you're not paying a massive copywriter to share your passion. It's about sharing your
Yes.
passion. And that's why we have the video, you know, and a lot of the videos, and this is why I think you'll like it, Anastasia, is they've done the questions and then they've actually put it on their websites to explain what they do and why they do it. Because the questions we ask are like, who do you serve? What's your business? What's your achievement? What's your challenge? Basic questions you all know as a business owner. And then they've taken that and they've either clipped it into reels, which I know Anastasia can do that for you, and they can either put it on their website and go, here's our messaging, here's our main thing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that is a component. Is video suck? It's hard. As I said, I don't like watching back anything I'm on. And things happen. Like I've got a baby in my hand and I got a prayer here you can see and a ring light. And it's okay. No one cares because you're listening and you're getting the message that it's needed. But if you want a trophy, whether it's a beautiful purple crystal trophy, you have to be in it to win it. 100%. And just a sidetrack note, when I was traveling Europe, I traveled Europe when I was 23 or something by myself. And I remember going to this church and they said that I think it was in Italy, I'm not sure, mum brain, right? But they said every year this man would come and pray at this beautiful big Mother Mary statue, this beautiful big marble. And every day this man would come and he'd pray at the feet of this statue and he'd go, please, please, I need the money. Please, please, can you help me win the lottery? I need to win the lottery. Every day he would come back. And one day the statue came alive and grabbed his hand and said, well, will you buy a bloody ticket then? So with anything, put it out there, because especially, and I can only speak on behalf of the Alibi Awards that I'm currently working with now, but even with the other awards that I judge, I still judge with the Stevie Awards and that. You got to be in there, in it to win it. Put it out there. The worst that could happen is you get some feedback and they say, hey, have a look at your messaging or have a look at this or give more information here. But if it's something that's on your list and you want to have that title award-winning business owner, you just go, just do it.
No, 100%. And just to add my 2 cents into that as well, is even if you're not entering it to win it, as a business owner, particularly in the first couple of years of business, or if your business has changed or you've changed or whatever, just going through the motions of having to answer those questions and having to actually look at your business from almost an outsider's perspective to be able to describe it, that in itself, it doesn't cost you anything to do that. And it's a great framework to actually get you to take that look at your business and learn as you go as well. And as you said before, I think you guys are about the only ones that I know of that will provide feedback on an entry. And it was Michelle Katz that actually pushed me to to go, no, get your feedback, because it's more than just you didn't win. It's actually useful.
Well, I know that Michelle, I remember that Michelle actually, when she won, so she won in 2023 for service-based business, and she had used the feedback from the prior year, our first year. And I remember the judge that was out there actually walked up and he said, see what happens when you take feedback on board positively and put it out there. If you don't have the feedback, and this is why we put it in our awards program. Is it more work for me? Yes. I already told you I don't have anyone other than a VA who's busy doing other things. So when I'm collating that feedback and emailing it, it's generally me, and it is more time. But how do you know what to improve on if it's not brought to your awareness? And that's what it's all about. You can keep entering all these awards and wondering why you can't win, but maybe that bit of feedback might go, oh, your messaging's not clear, or maybe go check your website because it's currently got a link not working, or whatever that is, to then go, okay, I can improve. But as you mentioned, the whole analysis and reviewing your business, we're so busy working in our business, we don't look at it from another person's eyes looking at your business, which the judges do. But sometimes you got to remember like what you achieved and what your challenges were and how far you come. Not
Yes.
only is it great content you can share with people because you're like, hey, do you remember when we actually achieved this? But sometimes when you're having a really bad day, you need to understand what you've overcome and what your achievements are. So it is a great way to review. And it's also, can I just say, to network and meet other people, just even your finalists. Like, I know you're in competition with them, right? And I know you're like cheeky, like, I always say to them when I give them the trophy, don't use it as a weapon because of the top, right?
Yeah, it's pretty spicy.
But you're meeting so many women in the same category or doing things that you are doing, and you're learning from them and meeting them there. And with Alibi, I've found, and I've been in a lot of different groups, it's so community focused. Like, I've got photographers giving other jobs to different photographers. People are referring for extra help they want here. If someone wants something straight away, there's people getting tagged. And it's not just like, oh, they're my friend. I've used their business. Come use them too. They're amazing. So you'll meet so many amazing women at the night that you can just, you might not have met them before, but you're sitting at the table and just getting to know them and learn their beautiful stories. And, that for me, not although I'm generally running around like a duck, like trying to look good here and my little feet are going like this during the event, but just to then meet people you've met face to face from online and to hug them if you're a hugger or not, and just be like, hey, it's good to actually see you and be in your energy and actually really understand the passionate vibe that you have.
100%. And there were a couple of people at my table at last year's awards that I hadn't met face to face before. And we've now referred business. Like, I also volunteered at Alice's event a couple of weeks ago because I'd met her that night. I liked what she stood for. I liked what she did. And she was also so sweet when she won that night too. She was so excited that rubbed off.
Yeah, and I don't think she was expecting it either, but she put herself forward. She went, I'm just going to go for it. And then she ended up walking away with a beautiful, shiny trophy.
So amazing about herself and what she does.
And yeah, it's just, I know people think, oh, and there's a lot of awards programs out there, but I'm not saying enter them all. I'm saying enter the ones that align with you, but don't then sit back and be like, I can't believe that business won. They're so crap if you didn't throw your hat in the ring.
Yep. Or if you didn't actually put effort into your entry.
And there is lots of support and help, and that's what the community is all about. So put it out there, but you need to put yourself forward and give it a go.
Yep, 100%.
And it was at this point that I would normally have wrapped up with Kylie and we would have said our usual goodbyes and thank you for being here and thank you for having me. But Bubs, who had been doing really well for over an hour at this stage, was starting to get really fussy. So we wrapped up really quickly and it was an absolute pleasure to have Kylie chat to me, and she is a gem of a human and I am forever grateful, not just for the chance to speak to her, but also for what she's built with Alibi. It really is a lovely community. And if you haven't checked it out and you are an Australian lady in business, I highly recommend going and having a look because there are a lot of very, very, very lovely, genuine ladies in there who are all very willing to help each other out. But that's it for me. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.